today to prepare for what insiders call Phase 2 of the company's long-range plan. Cynthia Valcant, Starbucks head of marketing, made this brief statement at a press conference earlier today.
We've enjoyed furnishing you with coffee-related beverages and are excited about the important role you play in our future plans.
Existing Starbucks franchises across the nation have been shuttered with high-strength titanium, and the well-known Starbucks logo has been slightly altered to present the familiar mermaid figure as a cyclopean mermaid whose all-seeing eye forms the apex of a world-spinning pyramid. Doyle Redland for The Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, welcome to Cop Block Radio. It's Wednesday, October 21st, 2015. Back to the Future Day for those of you who have been following along. Now is the time. This is the time that Marty McFly and Doc flew in their DeLorean into the future, which is today. So all of Back to the Future now takes place in the past. I am your host, Derek J., and with me we have co-hosts
Dio
and Severin, and I want to know where my hoverboard is.
Where is that damn hoverboard? I'd like to know.
You can get one.
I'll blame the police. Why not?
They confiscated it.
This is Cop Block Radio, and you can Skype into the show at username Cop Block Radio. We also have a call-in line, so you can interact with us, tell us your stories of police aggression or accountability. If you have been so fortunate as to hold police accountable this week, our number is 413-418-COPS. That's 413-418-2677. And Severin, you've had an exciting week this week. Have you been contacted by the government?
Absolutely, I've been contacted, and I've been put into some handcuffs, and I've been had my property stolen from me, and I've been threatened with a cage.
Man, that's some bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you do? Knock over a 7-Eleven?
No, I was videotaping.
Videotaping?
I videotaped the outside of a state police barracks, and they did not like it.
That's such an old school way to say it, too. Like, I was videotaping. When's the last time you actually used an actual tape to record something?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Well, yeah. I was filming. Let's put it that way. I was filming.
It wasn't film either, right? What's the new way to say it? What were you doing?
I could say I was shooting, but you can't really say shooting a police station.
Right. So anyway, what happened, man? Did the police just not know that it's legal to film them? I mean,
no, they were playing their words to us. I was there with a group of people, and their words to us were, "You want this attention? Now you got it."
So do they not know that they've got a lawsuit coming? I mean, like,
I don't think they care.
This is not their money, right?
We'll talk about this later in the show when we show a video. But the reason that we went down there was because of what happened was a friend of ours from the Oath Accountability Project had an encounter with a police officer after a traffic incident.
Yeah.
And he started recording the encounter, and the police officer snatched the camera out of his hand and said, "I'm taking it for my safety."
Okay.
So we went down there for the reason of we're going to do a First Amendment audit on this police department that seems to really not like filming as like kind of a joke.
Right.
And joke was on us when we realized that they're willing to just spit on the Constitution and the law to prove a point and steal our property. They have about $2,000 worth of our property right now. Things that we need. Things that we rely on, our video equipment, our cell phones.
Well, you were having nightmares, weren't you, about this very thing?
Yeah, I was. You know what? That's a good point.
Well, that sucks, dude. I'm sorry to hear that. So I guess we'll get into it later on in the show. We're going to be joined by Scott, one of the guys who you were arrested with, and we'll get into depth about that. We're going to have another guest joining us in a few minutes, right, Dio?
Yeah, LaTanya Goldsby is Tamir Rice's cousin. She's leading the charge. She leads a Facebook page called Justice for Tamir. And we'll have, of course, we'll hand out the links and everything later on. But, she should be joining us after the first segment here and talk about, they went to a city council meeting to do, like a protest over there. And there was there you go, and there was recently a a protester. It was one of the protesters who was arrested. One of the Cleveland 77 who was arrested. That Ademo filmed them all getting arrested downtown in May, and one of the same guys. They were doing a live protest. They had photos of Tamir that they were holding up for everybody to see, and they took this guy away for no reason. And
Was that the guy they tackled in the council meeting?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I saw that video. I didn't know how recent that was. That was crazy.
His name is Nico. He's a friend of mine. He does a lot of protests. I've seen him on a lot of protests around down Cleveland and stuff. So, I know he's deep in the fight for all this. He's been at all the rallies and the what do you call it, the candlelight vigils and stuff like that around town and everything. So it's as soon as I seen it, I was like, hey man, I know that dude. So we tried to get, they put together some rallying calls to try to get him out and stuff. I think he's out now. They basically held him for 24 hours and let him go with no charges.
Crazy.
Yeah, this stuff could be fun to laugh at sometimes and joke about how stupid the police could be, but this is some scary shit sometimes. Like when you look at our arrest, how they just didn't care that they were violating our rights. You look at this, you look at the protesters, you look at this guy at the city council meeting, like it's getting really scary out there. These police just do not care at all. And they have no accountability, so why would they? Right. They can do what they want, and they are. It's getting worse, in my opinion.
When they get sued, the taxpayer pays the bill. So, that's part of the big thing I see as the problem is that you should have. I mean, I've always been an advocate of that. The police should have their own, carry their own insurance, so that when they have something like that happen, then the settlements come out of their own pockets. And after a while, insurance companies are going to be like, "Yo, this guy's not worth insuring anymore," and then he's not going to be able to be a cop anymore.
Well, I've decided in my case, we're not going after the police department. I'm going after the particular cop that handcuffed me. I'm actually going to personally file suit against him, and in that same day put a lien against his own property. I found out exactly who he was and where his house is, and I'm going to go to that courthouse with my lawsuit and put a lien against it.
Like the guy who hooked up the police car to the tow truck, right? $250 or I ain't unhooking it.
Yep.
What's that about? Putting a lien on the? Well, I guess we'll get into that later. I wanted to tease some of the stories that are coming up. Remember we've talked about the corrupt Silk Road agent who was trying to extort Dread Pirate Roberts? Well, he was sentenced to 78 months this week.
Good for him.
Yeah,
that's such bullshit. He got barely anything. He's not going to even serve more than a year, I bet.
Well, the whole case is bullshit, so start there.
Yeah.
And look at.
Yeah, welcome to Cop Block Radio. It's Wednesday, October 21st, 2015. Back to the Future. Yeah, welcome to Cop Block Radio. It's Wednesday, October...
It's liquid chalk.
No, there's...
How do you know that? What's that? I'm very smart.
You can see from our video that we use standard chalk and liquid sidewalk chalk. We can only assume that the police are upset about the liquid chalk. We just so happen to have some on board Mac. So we decided to test it to see if it was difficult to remove or caused any damage. Of course, we recorded our findings, and you can see those here.
Show what you got there.
Liquid sidewalk chalk.
And that was the exact same yellow thing that was used the night of the crime. See how much damage. We'll clean it up.
Clean it out a little bit.
And it's 1:32, so it's been 10 minutes since we've chalked the liquid chalk. See how well it goes in 10 minutes. The light pressure, just a sprinkle.
Oh.
Look at that. The regular chalk goes away right away. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. A little speck here, but I just wipe it with my finger. Gone.
I want to know, is Ademo planning on suing for malicious prosecution?
Oh, no.
That looks pretty simple for the 10-minute test.
That was total
It has now
retaliation
been-
for them.
What, 1 hour? No, 2 hours.
Maybe a little bit more, too. A couple minutes past the 2. 3:22.
Sorry, 1:22. It has been 2 hours now, and we're going to do the last test area on the seasoned concrete. We'll see how long it takes to get this horrendous yellow paint liquid chalk off. There goes the regular chalk, no problem. And so they probably just came out and did this and were like, oh man, it doesn't get off.
It's paint.
It's gonna do, but look at this, this minimal amount of water pressure, it does start to come up. So now I guess the question is, are we being punished for their laziness, if they didn't get out there right away to clean it off? Or, you know, or that it took a little more work than the standard chalk? Like, should you be sent to jail because somebody had to work harder? As you can see, the chalk was rather easy to remove even after being on the concrete for 2 hours. It also didn't create any damage at all to seasoned or finished concrete. So if we add all this together, the 4 cops huffing and puffing outside the RV the first night, criminal mischief warrants issued for us, my temporary detainment in Kansas City, we can't help but ask, who are they protecting?
If you'd like to know who the Hamilton County Sheriffs or Prosecutor James Baldwin are protecting, feel free to call them. Their information is in the link below. Remember to ask them, who are you protecting?
Sick, man. So, that's bizarre. I've never heard of someone... Well, I guess there were 9 people who were arrested for chalking in Manchester, New Hampshire, once upon a time. But that's...
Yeah, but
you would think they would have learned.
They were, I mean, like, caught. I hesitate to use the word caught, but those guys were caught on scene with the chalk. They didn't issue a warrant and go get him a week later. You know, I've actually never seen, like, usually when there's a warrant like that, and like if the issuing department doesn't want to come and get the people who they issued the warrant against, the police who were in Kansas are not going to drive them to Indiana. So, like, why even bother? It's all just a show. They you know, the police departments along Mac's route have been warned that they're coming, right? So, like, I'm sure that we talked about this before, where there's probably contests and stuff about who's going to mess with them the most and all that, you know? So, like, I'm sure there's like pools going on and behind the scenes in the police departments and stuff like that. So I'm sure these guys in Noblesville and Kansas probably just scored a couple points.
I want to learn a little bit more about this. Damo continues in his blog post at copblock.org. He says, it's obvious that Brian and I chalked the sidewalks. Neither of us denies that. And there's video to prove it. Furthermore, both Brian and I have been found guilty of chalking-related charges in the past, but don't let those convictions lead you to believe that it's illegal to chalk sidewalks. I was found guilty of, and that's a demo, I was found guilty of my chalking charge and appealed the verdict at a jury trial. The court then accidentally sent my trial notice to an address that didn't exist, and since I missed my hearing, my sentence was enacted. Brian chalked a police memorial and feel that it's the only reason he was convicted, not only implying that the jury took offense to where he chalked, but also the police, hence why the charges were brought in the first place. It should be noted that in Adamos' trial for chalking, he was arrested for writing on a vertical wall on the police station, and it was clearly stated that sidewalks were okay. So we've learned from these encounters to stick to sidewalks these days. This means that the standard chalk